For most of us, when you think of a home office, what comes to mind is a setup we use for work, or if you're a YouTuber, a place that doubles up as your YouTube studio. I'm no exception, and I totally agree with that train of thought, but after upgrading to the Samsung Odyssey Neo G9, a monitor specifically built for gaming, but I mostly use it for productivity, I thought I might as well turn it into my home office desk gaming setup. Buckle up and let's go for the ride. This here is my home office desk gaming setup, which also doubles up as my productivity hub. I know they say you don't mix work and play, but the spec sheet this monitor comes with, I had to set it up to enjoy the best of both worlds. If you'd like an in-depth look at it, I'll leave a link of the review in the description box, and while on the subject of this monitor, we might as well take a deep dive into it. If you played on a super ultra wide before, you know how immersive that feels, especially when playing story-driven games. It's got its quirks, but the pros outweigh the cons. Besides its massive screen real estate, its specs, which I'll be getting into in just a bit, the whole experience is unforgettable. I do wish I had a beefy PC to experience the full 240Hz refresh rate, but nonetheless, its 2 millisecond response time comes in clutch when playing FPS games on my PlayStation 5. I also like how its 1000-hour curvature has significantly reduced my eye strain when playing campaigns on story-driven games, owing to the fact that its curvature closely matches the field of view of the human eye. In addition to that, its new mini LED backlight that includes 2048 local dimming zones has been an absolute game changer, especially for a true HDR visual like myself. Speaking of HDR, Samsung does list support for what appears to be their own in-house HDR standard, Quantum HDR 2000, which if you'd ask me, I'd say looks pretty impressive. Do keep in mind though, the impressive 2000 nits are limited to HDR content, in this case games, but when I switch to SDR content, which I look at majority of the time, I'm more than happy with the 400 nits of peak brightness I get. It does have great aesthetics, and I love the glossy white plastic outer housing, which opens up to this futuristic infinity core lighting. Although not significant when it comes to its illumination, I do like how you can customize the color to match that of the screen or set it to RGB. Speaking of aesthetics, the glossy white and black colors match perfectly with the PlayStation 5 console. Moving along. Even though the monitor comes with a monitor stand, I opted to have it mounted on this monitor arm from Ergotron since its monitor stand chews up a lot of my desk space. Do keep in mind though, this monitor arm sits at the premium budget end of the market, but in my opinion, I don't think there's any heavy duty monitor arm that beats the HX Ergotron monitor arm. It's enabled me enjoy the massive gaming experience while saving loads of desk space, and that's not all. Adjusting the monitor has been super easy, and once I took the tension, it enables me move the monitor further back, closer to my face, or swivel left or right. Something to note though, before buying one, make sure your monitor arm can handle the weight of your monitor. This particular monitor arm can handle up to a 20kg monitor, and in addition to that, it helps with a bit of cable management through this channel, which directs everything to my desk cable management tray. Speaking of desk, all my tech sits on this beautiful IKEA Calby countertop, which I mounted on this desky sit stand legs. Its durability has stood the test of time so far, and it's easy to wipe the occasional spill when I'm enjoying a drink whilst playing. I also like the walnut color of the countertop, which adds a warm and natural look to my setup. It sits on dual motorized legs from Desky, which can be lifted through this press interface that has 4 programmable settings. The motorized legs lift quietly and with so much ease. Like mentioned earlier, I also got a cable management tray, which besides its main function of cable management also comes with power board slots, and I added 2 power boards for extra power sockets. And while on the subject of power sockets, we might as well talk about what I plug in them. My M1 Mac Mini is plugged in one of the sockets, and the fact that the Blue Yeti is a USB microphone, I have it plugged in my CalDigit TS3 Plus hub, which is connected to my computer, and that's how I juice it up to be able to get clear and crisp audio when on my campaigns. It gives me a variety of audio patterns when it comes to audio recordings, however carrier mode is the best when it comes to what I do. I mounted it on a cheap boom amp from Amazon with a shock mount, which helps prevent the microphone from any reverb caused by shocks, vibrations, or ambient noise making it into my recordings. It's also got a pop filter which helps deal with the plosives when doing my recordings. In addition to that, I also use the AirPod Max, and this surprisingly does so well in gaming. In terms of comfort, they're right up there thanks to its foam padding, and even after playing hours on end, I don't find myself hurting or needing to take a break. Its chassis is composed of rubber and stainless steel, which is rubbed with a soft to the touch material for a remarkable combination of strength, flexibility and comfort. Its telescoping arms smoothly extend and stay where I set them for a consistent fit and seal. I like how the extension accommodates my big head perfectly. On days that I don't feel like using them, my Kanto YU2 speakers come in clutch, and I have them docked on this headphone stand from Amazon. While audio perception is subjective, there's suddenly a baseline on what's good and what's not, in which case the fundamental guidelines should always be clarity, detail, dynamic range and clear separation between the frequencies. My Blue Yeti microphone together with the AirPod Max and Kanto YU2 speakers work in tandem to give me the ultimate sound experience when immersed in my games. By the way, if you're interested in any of the items, I'll leave links to all of them in the description box. Moving to the driving force of this setup. At the heart of the setup I have my Sony PlayStation 5, which takes full advantage of this monitor's HDR capabilities. Gaming on it the last couple of months has been nothing short of phenomenal. I've enjoyed playing games like FIFA, NBA 2K23 among many others. The biggest downside in my opinion the monitor does have is games that don't support the 5120x1440 resolution get huge cinematic bars on either side, which isn't particularly pleasing. I know I'm going to get a lot of slack for this, just don't roast me too much in the comment section. Since I don't have a PC yet, I play games that don't need a lot of GPU and CPU power on my M1 Mac Mini using the steampunk keyboard and mouse. By the way, I'll be looking to build my own custom PC in the coming months. Your recommendations are highly welcomed. Even though the keyboard isn't designed for gaming, it still does the job on games like Minecraft, which don't require complex navigations or a super high DPI sensor like that of a mouse required in FPS games like Call of Duty to gain winning control over your enemies. By the way, if you haven't watched my review on this keyboard, I'll leave a link of the video in the description box. In all honesty, I just like the look the keyboard and mouse add to my home office gaming setup. To give the keyboard and mouse a nice visual structure, I'm rocking this wool felt desk mat from Delta Hub, and even though I enjoy using my mouse on it, I prefer using the Grommet mousepad as it provides a much smoother surface to move my mouse. I also have this wool felt coasters for my caps, despite the fact that my IKEA Calpi has withered everything I've thrown at it. My Grommet MagSafe stand also comes in clutch to ensure I stay up to date with messages from our group chats, owing to the fact that I can simply steal a glance and it unlocks with Face ID, enabling me preview the messages whilst charging. My Grommet desk shelf on the other hand not only acts as a docking station for my M1 Mac Mini, but also adds the aesthetic appeal to the setup. Here's the setup without the shelf, and here's the setup with the shelf. Notice the difference in terms of aesthetics. To cap off the accessories and peripherals, in my opinion, no setup is complete without some decor and plants. For this particular setup, I have this vintage telephone and levitating plant which never ceases to bring that wow effect. When it comes to plants, the IKEA plants are a staple in almost all YouTubers' setups, and I've got a bunch scattered all over my setup. Like most of you would attest, storage is important in any setup, whether it's for productivity or gaming. Over here, I have this desk tray from Grommet, and I use it to store most of my little knickknacks like USB drives, which I use when updating the monitor's software or just storing random files. On either side of the desk, I have the IKEA Alex drawers, which were originally white, but I spray painted them black to match the aesthetic of the space, and I use them to store drives which host some of my video games. I do sometimes game at night, and setting the perfect ambience adds to the gaming experience. Starting off with the BenQ screen by Halo, which helps reduce eye strain thanks to its asymmetric light pattern, and together with a curved floor lamp, LED light strip and a bunch of other lamps, they set the perfect mood on those game nights. To integrate them together for easy automation, I have them synced to Amazon Alexa, and that makes it super easy turning them on or off just with the press of a button on the Amazon Alexa app. I have no doubt you would agree with me, a setup isn't complete without a nice comfy chair. In my case, I went with the IMS replica office chair, and boy doesn't it scream class! Even though it's not a typical gaming chair, aesthetically it blends so well with the ongoing theme, and in terms of ergonomics it ticks all the boxes in my book. I'm pretty happy with this iteration, and by far my favorite item is the keyboard. This type of setup would be ideal for those who don't have a dedicated gaming setup in their homes and are a little bit tight on space. If you got to this point of the video, a big thank you to you, and don't forget to like, subscribe, share and click the notification bell to get notified whenever I post a new video. To find out what keyboard I used to write this script, check out this video. People of the internet, I'm signing out. See you on the next one.